On this Friday night, MPs pack their toothbrushes and go home after a House of Commons all-nighter. Vote after vote on matters of confidence had Liberals pinned to their seats as Canada's elected officials did what they could to pass the time at work. But in the end, what did this pajama party really accomplish?
Also tonight, the pride of Marystown, Newfoundland, Caitlin Osmond skates her way to a world championship. This is The National.
The all-night voting marathon that kept MPs in Parliament through the night and most of the day today is over. Lawmakers spent the last 2 days not crafting laws, but rather standing and sitting and whatever else they could do to pass the time, all because of a protest by the official opposition over how the Trudeau government handled the Prime Minister's trip to India and the so-called Jaspal-Atwal affair. So the House of Commons sat for, get this, 28 hours and 54 minutes. The standoff now is over, and bleary-eyed MPs are heading home to their ridings. And our Catherine Cullen looks into whether anything was accomplished or whether it was just a political stunt.
All night long.
When politicians work all night long, funny things can happen, like the YMCA dance.
I have got change of shirt, and my staff has just come with gum and deodorant. It's not for me, it's for my colleagues. And toothpaste and a toothbrush.
Things are getting a little stale in there?
They're getting stale in there.
All those in favor of the motion will please rise.
That's bound to happen after more than 20 hours of votes. Because the votes were all about government spending, each one was a crucial confidence issue, meaning if the Liberals lost, it would trigger a federal election. So MPs got comfortable and made the best of it.
There's a lot of humor, a little bit of snoozing, a little bit of reading, a little bit of work. So, a little bit of snoozing? You know, you can't help but snooze after being up for 24 hours or so.
By now, you might be asking yourself, why was this all happening?
All we're asking for is a briefing. I'd prefer to have tucked my kids in last night.
The Conservatives want answers about Justin Trudeau's trip to India. Specifically, they want to know how a convicted attempted murderer got invited to a reception with the Prime Minister. The Conservatives say the Prime Minister's national security advisor told some journalists rogue elements in India may have orchestrated it. And they say politicians, not just journalists, should be able to ask questions too.
What capacity are
The government says not in public, only in the closed-door secret meetings of the Security Intelligence Committee.
That's the place where these questions should be raised.
The marathon of votes was intended to pressure the government to change its mind. But in the end, it was the Conservatives who gave up first.
I am prepared to soon withdraw many of our remaining motions to allow for staff and members of Parliament to get some rest.
They insist this was still worth it because it put the spotlight on these security questions.
We've been able to bring this not only to light, but also realize to what extent the Prime Minister is willing to cover it up.
Meaning there will still be plenty to debate once MPs have had some sleep.
Ready to go home to bed.
Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
This stonewalling will likely create a hefty overtime bill for taxpayers. Parliamentary services like the cafeteria and security staff, they must be available when the House is sitting, though officials say those costs are already accounted for in the annual budget. Worth mentioning, though, that MPs won't earn more from their all-nighter. There's no OT on top of their $172,000 a year salaries. Green Party leader Elizabeth May wasn't in the House today. She was in BC, joining those protesting against the expansion of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. She even got arrested.
I believe very strongly that the permits that were issued to Kinder Morgan did not represent a proper process. They did not respect the rights of interveners. They did not respect the rights of Indigenous peoples on this territory.
May, who was arrested alongside NDP MP Kennedy Stewart, you see there, received a conditional release. She'll return to court on a civil contempt charge in June. Protest organizers, though, say that more than 100 people have been taken into custody since demonstrations began in Burnaby last weekend. A day after health officials said a teenager's death in Labrador was likely due to tuberculosis, the federal government has now committed to eliminating the disease in Inuit communities by 2030. That might surprise a lot of Canadians who may not realize how serious a problem it still is in the north. Inuit peoples in dozens of communities across the Arctic are getting TB at rates 300 times higher than non-Indigenous people born here. The CBC's Evan Dyer has more on the problem and the proposed solutions.
To most Canadians, tuberculosis seems like a disease from the past. But in the north, it's a very present danger. More than 100 active cases were diagnosed last year in Nunavut. The Inuit have lived with high rates of TB ever since they first settled in permanent communities in the 1940s. Poverty, poor housing, and above all, overcrowding have kept the bacterial infection going among young and old alike. Kevin Kablutsiak was 16 when he was diagnosed with TB in Arviat, Nunavut, and went through 9 months treatment. He says some people were afraid to be around him.
We have to encourage each other to talk about it, to understand how TB works, how it's contracted, and that it is curable, and that, if you have TB, you get treated and it's okay.
This is now the first time that the government of Canada is saying that TB control is not enough. Just managing the elevated rate of tuberculosis in Inuit Nunavut is not enough.
The hamlet of Kikik-Tarjuak is the worst affected in Nunavut. 1 in 10 residents has TB. Starting last month, a mobile clinic tested 90% of the town's population. The good news is that there are new diagnostic tests and also new treatments available, and both work much faster than what's existed before. So that means a new opportunity to get ahead of this contagious disease and stop its spread.
It's not rocket science. We're in a position where we have the best technical and diagnostics tools that have ever been in existence.
But Dr. Gonzalo Alvarez says medicine alone won't be enough to defeat a disease that thrives in crowded living conditions.
This disease is more complex in that it is so linked to the social determinants of health. And so we need to see investments in, for example, housing, which I think is absolutely critical.
The federal government says it'll spend $640 million over 10 years to improve Inuit housing and hopes to be able to declare all Inuit regions TB-free by the year 2030. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
As Evan mentioned, this is not a new problem, not at all. By the 1950s, an estimated 1/3 of the Canadian Inuit population was infected with TB. And if the disease hurt communities in one way, in another, so did the government response.
He realizes that as a result of our survey, he may be taken away from his home.
Instead of treating patients locally, which was the practice in Alaska, for example, in Canada, patients were taken away from their homes and sent south for months, even years. At the time, it was portrayed as a humanitarian act.
And for the Eskimos, an apprehension. For the doctors and nurses aboard the Howe are concerned with their health, and their examinations may mean an exile in one of the crowded cities of their fellow Canadians to the south.
The ship, the CD Howe, toured the north, diagnosing and spiriting people away for treatment.
No shame in this number. It's a safeguard against confusion in the records.
Throughout the 1950s, records show more than 5,000 Inuit were sent south. For perspective, Canada's Arctic then had a population of about 30,000.
After 18 months, it's still not cured. But the loneliness is over.
Children, in particular, could return estranged from their community. Many never returned. Families never told where they were buried. Foreign-born Canadians are also disproportionately affected by TB. They represent 20% of the population, but 70% of the cases of TB.
Where we'll be in Ottawa with the Prime Minister to have a statement in acknowledging the wrong that was done to us many years ago.
On Monday, Justin Trudeau is expected to make a formal apology to the Chilcotin First Nation. More than 150 years ago, 6 chiefs from that nation were accused of murder convicted and hanged. They were trying to preserve their traditional territory during a war with European settlers. In a 2014 landmark decision, the Supreme Court found the Chilcotin had Aboriginal title to segments of their traditional land. Turning to Europe now, Andrew, and after 5 months without a major terror attack in France, it was a deadly day for a small community in the south of that country.
And Rosie, Paris, which has certainly seen its share of bloody violence, they are standing with that small town tonight. Have a look. This is the Eiffel Tower falling dark earlier this evening to honor those killed in today's terror attack, as well as a wounded police officer who risked his own life to save hostages. As for the attack itself, it seems to have followed an all too familiar pattern in France. Our Thomas Daigle pieces together what happened.
The unnerving urgency felt in France many times before, with first responders rushing this time to a suburban supermarket, a gunman holed up inside with hostages, and a trail of violence already left behind. The rampage started with a carjacking and shots fired at police in Carcassonne. The vehicle was driven to small-town Trèbes, where the violence continued. Police outside didn't risk storming in, while inside, witnesses say the attackers shouted, "Allahu Akbar, God is great," and pledged allegiance to ISIS.
Le terroriste s'appelait Redouane Lagdim.
The French Interior Minister identified the attacker as a 26-year-old known to police as a small-time drug dealer. Today, he reportedly demanded the release of Salah Abdeslam, the prime suspect in the 2015 Paris attacks that killed 130 people in several locations, including a crowded rock concert.
It follows the kind of routine that we've seen over the last couple of years, that these things will just pop out of nowhere and people will be looking to take lives, but also make a political statement on behalf of ISIS.
With eyes in the sky, one police officer boldly got inside when he volunteered to trade places with a hostage. He had the presence of mind to leave his cell phone connected. Police heard gunshots and ran in, killing the suspect. At the end of this bloody day, 3 others were dead. That daring officer rushed to hospital in critical condition. The French president honored him for his role in ending the siege.
Il a sauvé des vies.
He saved lives and made his country proud, said Emmanuel Macron. Police are now scouring the suspect's apartment as they try to determine his motivations and whether there's any further threat. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, London.
The attacks on Paris in 2015 shook France to the core. 130 dead, more than 600 wounded. And it wasn't until 2 years later the national state of emergency was lifted. But the threat of attack remains high, as we saw today. 7,000 soldiers are deployed across the country at possible target sites. And the government says its vigilance is paying off, with more than a dozen potential attacks stopped last year. Let's turn our attention down south now, where you might say the confidence of the U.S. economy is teetering. On paper, it's got near full employment, strong growth, but the markets tell a different story. The S&P 500 sank just over 2% today, 6% over the last week. In fact, these are the worst 7 days U.S. markets have seen in more than 2 years. And why the sudden jitters? Well, it might have something to do with this man. In recent days, the U.S. president has slapped tariffs on China, launching what some fear could be a trade war between the world's 2 largest economies. Trump also appointed a new national security advisor, renowned America First foreign policy hawk John Bolton. Now, Bolton is described as a radical neocon, a warmonger, even a bully, depending on who you ask. So the move is making many people nervous. Keith Bogue takes a closer look.
Nearly 5 months ago, I nominated John Bolton to be America's ambassador to the United Nations.
John Bolton's foreign policy tilt has always made for difficult politics. In 2005, George W. Bush had to appoint Bolton to the United Nations when the Senate was in recess. Because Bolton's views were so hawkish, the Senate wouldn't have confirmed him if they'd been around for a vote. At the UN, he was an enthusiastic supporter of the Iraq War.
Iraq's biological weapons program remains a serious threat to international...
and warned constantly of the nuclear threat posed by Iran and North Korea. In private life, he's been even more bellicose. In an editorial last month, he called for a military strike against North Korea, and he's repeatedly recommended the same for Iran.
I've never been shy about what my views are.
Indeed, that's why former Bush ethics advisor Richard Painter tweeted, Bolton is an invitation to war, perhaps nuclear war. He's the most dangerous man to serve in this administration to date. Now Bolton's trying to put some distance between his former self and his future self.
Frankly, what I've said in private now is behind me, at least effective April the 9th, and the important thing is what the president says and what advice I give him.
He has a history of being a warmonger. He's very trigger happy.
Democrats in the Senate think Bolton's exactly the wrong person to have President Trump's ear on national security.
I think he will exacerbate the worst tendencies of a president who likes to undercut diplomacy rather than embrace it.
Although a cabinet-level appointment, National Security Advisor doesn't require Senate confirmation, so Bolton's appointment is secure. He'll figure in the coming negotiations between Trump and Kim Jong-un, if that meeting goes ahead. March has proved a transformative month for the Trump administration. What were thought to be the stabilizing forces in the White House, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Economic Advisor Gary Cohn, and now H.R. McMaster will all soon be gone. The personality of the administration is changing to better reflect the personality of the president. Keith Bogue, CBC News, Washington.
And another major development in Washington today. The president signed a $1.3 trillion spending bill, but he didn't seem all that thrilled about it.
There are a lot of things that I'm unhappy about in this bill. But I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. I'm not going to do it again.
The bill seemed to ignore many of Trump's priorities. $1.3 trillion sounds like a lot, but there was comparatively little funding for his border wall, for instance, although it did include a big boost to military spending, which Trump spoke on at length.
34 Navy ships, F-35 aircraft. That's the most sophisticated aircraft in the world, jet fighters, total stealth. Tanker aircraft. The tanker aircraft is very important based on everything.
Earlier on Twitter, Trump had threatened to veto the bill, which would have led to a government shutdown.
Ahead tonight on The National, thousands gathered at a vigil in Washington tonight. Tomorrow, millions are expected at the March for Our Lives. We'll hear from Canadians who are heading south to fight for gun reform.
And later, Caitlin Osmond's historic win at the World Figure Skating Championships. We'll hear from her family watching back in Newfoundland.
And we'll check in with Ian. He's in Vancouver tonight, and he'll join us from inside the Rogers Arena.
Well, they're busy here with the final preparations for the Juno Awards ceremony, the biggest night in Canadian music. We're going to dig into some of the challenges for the industry in the wake of Me Too, and I'll introduce you to a very funny guy nominated in a new, old category.
Hey, I invented this thing. You should try it. What does it do? Cooks food really fast. Does it do it properly? No.
Parents may prefer Puffalumps, but the cute, cuddly toys are in for some competition, and the competition could get ugly. Not just ugly, but gross.
Certainly grossness is going to be a very important segment of 1987's toys.
Splitting headache. It's part of the Madballs line, and if it's not gross enough for you, there are Madball comic books too. Gross toys are becoming popular on kids' TV shows, and not just during the commercials.
On a good day.
The toy is called Slime, and department stores can't get enough of them.
Slime Pit we're totally right out of, but it seems to have done well. Like, you know, just people just buy it right off your shelves. And the same as the Madballs, as soon as I had them in, they were gone, like within a couple of weeks. You know, it was incredible.
Isn't this kind of twisted?
Yeah, I think so.
Research shows little boys don't want to play with cute little toys, so the toy companies are coming up with dolls such as this one. Stinkor, the evil master of odors. He smells so bad he even wears his own gas mask.
I can't believe the smell off that thing.
What does he smell like?
A real skunk, kind of.
Jesus. Glad I didn't have these kind of toys when I was a kid.
Some type of soap.
like an awful smelling. I couldn't tell you, really.
It's almost like a dried bile.
Dried bile?
He just smells like bad plastic or something.
If you think stink ore is bad, well, hold your nose, because next year it's breath blasters. Squeeze them and watch out in your choice of garbage mouth, dog breath, or death breath. Pass the mouthwash. Jerry McIntosh, CBC News in the toy department.
Tonight on The National, just a few hours ago, Cambridge Analytica's London headquarters were raided. Britain's information regulator obtained a warrant. They're looking into whether the data firm broke any laws in the way it used the Facebook data of millions of Americans for political purposes. The company says it did nothing wrong.
We are spreading the word that anybody who attacks America is going to face an appropriate response, coordinated response.
That's the U.S. Deputy Attorney General announcing criminal charges today in what he says is one of the largest state-sponsored hacking campaigns ever prosecuted by the U.S. 9 Iranians and an Iranian company are accused of hacking into parts of the U.S. government, the United Nations, and hundreds of universities worldwide. According to prosecutors, their motive was to steal research worth billions, touching everything from medicine to science, technology, and engineering. And they say the Iranian government was in on it.
An angry call to action is taking shape across the U.S. as high school students mobilize to make their voices heard like never before. Tomorrow's march in Washington could draw 1 million protesters demanding safer schools through tougher gun laws.
It's just so exciting to me that my generation, that the people I'm friends with, are actually doing something and not just remaining passive.
Across the country, young people are following the example of Parkland shooting survivors, banding together to make their anger count.
Just seeing all of the recent headlines of violence in our schools, I'm honestly fed up, and I'm really inspired.
Most of them can't even vote or legally drink, but it's intoxicating for some to anticipate the power they will soon have.
We're the next generation who's going to get to vote, so we're going to be able to vote them out of office if they don't do anything to protect us.
Tonight, at a Washington prayer vigil in advance of tomorrow's march, people paid tribute to shooting victims. Their lost lives now galvanizing a generation.
The students are organizing and protesting and demanding action be taken now to end this bloodshed.
That enthusiasm has rolled right across the Canadian border and inspired some U.S. citizens living here. Ron Charles caught up with them.
They are getting ready for a long 9-hour overnight bus trip to add their voices to tomorrow's gun control rally in Washington. Most are people with U.S. citizenship living in Canada, people like student Connor Allison.
You know, students should have to focus on academics, studying, not having to dodge from bullets, right? I think we've seen decades of mass shootings, and enough is enough.
Alex Nelson is a dual citizen.
Well, they should show their support by writing their congressmen or their elected officials in order to get legislation passed that restricts the access to guns so these things don't happen as often.
I was born in the States, but I grew up here in Canada. And I find the gun laws appalling in the U.S., and I just don't understand the gun culture at all.
The bus was chartered by the group Democrats Abroad, an arm of the U.S. Democratic Party. The group's Toronto chair says there was strong demand in Canada to attend the Washington rally.
It's very moving and nothing like anybody's seen since the 60s. Or, you know, children haven't stepped up before in such a way where politicians will listen.
This mother and daughter are dual Canada-U.S. citizens and members of Democrats Abroad. Annie Perry will be joining the Washington March.
As an American and a Canadian citizen, I can vote in the state. So besides just marching, I can vote.
Her daughter, Shannon Perry, plans to attend a support rally in Toronto, one of 16 organized in cities across Canada.
It's something that I'm really passionate about. I have friends who
have lost friends to gun violence.
As the sun sets in Toronto, the bus gets on its way. The people inside filled with a sense of anticipation about what they may be able to accomplish in Washington tomorrow. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, let's take a look at what else we're working on tonight. When marijuana is legalized, what happens to people's drug convictions? We'll take you to California, where they're already tackling that issue.
But first, as the Junos prepare to celebrate the best in Canadian music, we'll look at the push tonight to get more women involved in the industry.
In my entire career, I've only ever worked with one female producer. And I think that's a shame.
Can I swear?
You can.
Bitch.
Yes.
Be a bitch.
That's okay to, it's okay to be a bitch.
A broad in total control of herself.
Today, we are lacking the basic human contact.
He is the reincarnation of his 13 predecessors, the mystical center of the Tibetan nation, and a spiritual light for millions of Buddhists. Tonight, one of the world's great spiritual leaders, the Dalai Lama. In August of 1932, a year before his death, the 13th Dalai Lama wrote his final testament to the Tibetan people. Tibet, he warned, faced a great danger. It may happen that the holders of the faith will disappear. Monks and their monasteries will be destroyed. All beings will be sunk in great hardship and overpowering fear. Shortly after his death, the search began for his next incarnation. Eventually, a detailed vision was seen in the waters of Tibet's most sacred lake. It pointed to a humble farmer's home in a remote village. It took 2 years to locate, but finally a delegation arrived at the gate of that exact house. Inside was a small boy, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet. During his lifetime, the prophecy of his predecessor would come true. His country would be invaded, and he would have to lead his people down from their mountainous Shangri-La and into exile in the modern world. The Lamist Buddhist Monastery of America in eastern New Jersey, some 90 miles from New York City. Today is a rather special day. The Dalai Lama is visiting. Since 1959, he has lived in India, heading the Tibetan government in exile. He has come here to give a Buddhist teaching, the main public teaching he will give on the East Coast.
Can I see your invitation? Keep left all the way. Yeah, follow him. Go ahead.
People will be arriving from as far away as Europe and South America to be present at the teaching. As Thomas Merton wrote, no contemporary spiritual leader is so beloved by his followers. It's easy to see one of the reasons why when you talk with him.
Your Holiness, the last time we met, you told me about being chosen Dalai Lama at the age of 2 and the process by which this was done. What was it like growing up, being revered by millions of Tibetans? Did you have time to enjoy yourself, have fun, games?
Not much.
Not much?
Not much. But I think it's a very game of how to say play. I think that time, the place, so how to say, is secluded. You see, I have not much relation or mixing with the other people, except you see my, what to say, playmate. Because I see elder people, but they're very good player. You see.
moving on for good this time.
That is Ruth B. debuting a brand new song at an event put on by our colleagues at CBC Radio's Q. Ruth B., Michael Bublé, and lots of other Canadian stars will be here on Sunday night for the Junos. This is Rogers Arena, normally the home of the Vancouver Canucks, but as you can see, they're getting ready for the awards ceremony and what also is going to be a fantastic concert live on CBC Television. The Junos, of course, a celebration of Canadian music, but this year comedy as well. For the first time since 1984, there will be a Juno presented for Best Comedy Album. That category, kind of a throwback. So too is one of the nominees, Ivan Decker. And I spoke to him at the Vancouver Club where he made his stand-up debut almost 15 years ago.
I know a few things. I know your hair is very important to you, ladies. And I learned this because I lived with a girl.
Take observations of ordinary life and then add some comic timing.
I was like, are you crying because you didn't like your haircut? She was like, shut up! You don't understand! And I said, you are correct. I used to think oatmeal was the saddest food.
And since being on top of your game in Canadian comedy doesn't necessarily make you a household name, so someone watching the National now who doesn't know who you are, what should they know?
They should know that I'm a comedian, mostly, even though I dress like I manage a bank. I tell jokes, and I love jokes so much, and if you come and watch me, that's what you're gonna get. I'm not gonna pick on people in the crowd. I'm not gonna try to change your mind about any issues, except maybe like appliance related. But if you invented a microwave today, you wouldn't be able to sell that to anybody. Like, hey, I invented this thing, you should try it. What does it do? Cooks food really fast. Does it do it properly? No. I could maybe convince you that microwaves are dumb, but that's pretty much as political as I get. I just want to make people laugh. That's kind of my main goal. I've heard legends of a $1 bill at one point. Oh, those must have been the salad days of Canadian currency.
You generally don't swear on stage. You don't pick on your audience. You are dressed in a shirt and tie for this interview, and you're the youngest looking 32-year-old I've seen recently. Is this a shtick or is this you?
I've always kind of enjoyed like the old style of showbiz where people dressed up, they wore suits. Like I love watching old Johnny Carson and stuff like that.
And speaking of Carson, 4 months ago, Decker made it to U.S. late night TV on former Tonight Show host Conan O'Brien's show.
That's why I think people who are good at running will get really cocky about it. They'll try to bring it up all the time. What do? I'm a runner. That's your job? No. I just want you to know that I do it a lot.
Of course, times have changed since the days of Carson when one late-night appearance was a career breakthrough. And that's where the album comes in. You may remember the golden age of comedy albums. Steve Martin, Richard Pryor, and before that, Bob Newhart, whose record topped the Billboard chart in 1960. Nowadays, albums don't generate those kinds of sales, but Decker says it is a path to getting his material on Sirius and XM satellite radio.
To me, such a neat thing to have it be on XM radio and have it played all throughout North America and even the world if people tune in. And it's so fun to me to get like an Instagram video of somebody from Arizona of their kid doing my dinosaur joke. They're like, hey, he's a big fan of yours. And it's so cool. It's just like I never thought I'd be able to reach that audience.
Of course, Decker is not the only nominee. There are 4 others from across the country vying for Best Comedy Album. As you look at that group of nominees, does anything come to mind to you?
I think the nominees are just such a great kind of cross-section and example of how good the comedy in this country is. Like, they're all fantastic. I just think that if people were to listen to all 5, you'll get a really good idea of just how great Canadian comedians are. I mean, put it up against any of your favorites, and you'll see that there's so much talent here. And it really, it's such an honor for me to be in that group.
So that's Ivan Decker's homework assignment for you. Download all 5 of those albums. This category, by the way, was awarded 4 times in Juno history between 1979 and 1984. The winners were the Royal Canadian Air Farce, Rich Little for his one-man performance of A Christmas Carol, and Bob and Doug McKenzie twice. Well, like other big award ceremonies, the Junos come in the wake of the Me Too and Time's Up movements. There's been progress in Canadian music. A year ago, 15% of the Juno nominees were women. This year, it is double that. But still, there is a push on to get more women involved in more categories of music, and Eli Glasner has a look at that story.
Where we could be
With 2 Juno nominations and 4 albums, Lights is a rising star in the Canadian music scene. But when she looked for other women to work with, her frustration led her to tweet, "Female producers out there, show me your stuff. SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever. I want to make some music with you."
One of my biggest issues with the industry is the lack of women behind the scenes, and especially women that are given opportunities behind the scenes. In my entire career, I've only ever worked with one female producer, and I think that's a shame.
Lights wants to see more women behind soundboards, running venues, writing songs, all facets of the industry. It's a push for equality that's also personal.
Now that I have a daughter, I notice what's marketed to young women. I think we need to reevaluate what we market to our kids, create interest and create an understanding of music and of music creation and the tech side of music and a passion for it, and make them realize that that is a career path, because if they don't see it, they don't know that they can be it.
Alyssa Roz is a pioneer in a male-dominated business. She's a live sound technician who ensures bands like Always or the Arkells sound perfect. But a decade ago, she graduated into what she says was a toxic environment.
It was a really hard lesson for the first couple of years. I almost quit just because of the amount of, there's sexual assault, harassment, and just the general assumption that women don't know what we're doing.
To cope, Roz changed who she was.
I lied for a while, and I said I was queerer than I was, and I chopped off my hair and I dyed it dark, and I learned how to be very macho, very butch, and that really helped distance that sexuality from myself in the workplace. And let's bring it all the way up to unity.
These days, she's more comfortable, whether it's teaching students or spending nights behind the soundboard, where she still surprises technicians from other bands.
So they come in, and a lot of times they've never met a female sound tech before. I'm the first one that they've ever met, and so the assumption is that I don't know what I'm doing because I've never worked with a female sound tech before.
No, just the range, the black knob.
But in studios and classrooms, a new wave of women are working to change that.
Yeah, they're on independent right now, so you can just go like this.
At this private media college, the number of women in the audio production program has more than tripled since it began in 1989. They may be entering a mainly male workplace, but they're not intimidated.
I think you just kind of have to work a little bit harder to prove yourself, and that's okay.
Be can I swear?
You can.
Bitch.
Yes.
Be a bitch.
That's okay to. It's okay to be a bitch.
A broad in total control of herself. Nice. And that's it.
The thirsty bird that always drinks the color black.
It took years for Juno nominee Iskway to take full control of her career. She made a conscious decision to channel her experiences as an Indigenous woman into her art, sometimes at a cost.
I've noticed opportunities pass because of the things that I've said.
While women at this year's Junos only make up 30% of the major categories, Iskway's encouraged by some changes.
I'm not naive to think that this is going to be an overnight thing. I'm not naive to think that, we're at a state now where we can be taking our hats off and calling the job done. I think that a lot of work needs to happen.
A lot of that work falls on this man. Alan Reid is the head of the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, and he's encouraged by the emergence of new voices.
You can't take away the success of The Weeknd or Shawn Mendes. They've had massive records. And there was a time back in the 90s when Celine and Shania and Alanis and Sarah were dominating the charts. I think there's some amazing females that are out making, watching Alessia Cara, what she's done in the last sort of 2 years, from virtually being unknown, winning Breakthrough Artist at the Junos, and now this year winning at the Grammys. It takes time, but it's all about just, development.
Reid says the hope is with more women being welcomed into the industry, future Junos could see a more equal mix of voices. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, if you don't have a ticket to the show here at Rogers Arena, as I mentioned earlier, CBC Television will be showing the Junos live Sunday night starting at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and here are a few things to watch for.
It's going to be really fun to get up on stage and do 4.5 minutes of older songs.
The Bare Naked Ladies are being inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and will reunite for a one-time performance. They haven't played together since former frontman Stephen Page left the group almost a decade ago.
Turn our faces to the sun.
Gord Downie is posthumously nominated for 3 awards for his last solo album, Introduce Yourself. The lead singer of the Tragically Hip, who died of brain cancer last October, will be honored with a special tribute performance. A few people you might see a lot of Sunday night, Arcade Fire and Daniel Caesar. They're tied for the most nominations, 5 apiece.
I wanna be a great one.
And keep an eye out for Jessie Reyez. It's her first time being nominated for a Juno, and she's up for 4, including Breakthrough Artist of the Year.
Before I hit the grave, son, Louis V don't chase, no.
Another artist to watch for, the triple nominee Ruth B., the singer-songwriter from Edmonton, whose career was launched on Vine.
I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan.
She posted snippets of this song, Lost Boy, long before it became a radio hit. After the Junos, we'll have her remarkable story right here on The National. Here's a preview. Is there, either on stage or in a studio or I don't know where, a pinch me moment in the last year?
Many, I would say. I think every night that I just finished up my tour, and every night that I would go up and the kids were singing my songs with me, I'd never get used to it. I think it's so crazy because I wrote most of those in my room with the idea that no one would ever hear them, and so to have people kind of sing them with me was always pretty surreal.
So that story's coming up Sunday on The National after the Junos telecast. Time for a short break, and after that, back to Andrew and Rosie.
We can sell our services to the world in a far easier fashion than we've ever been able to before.
Deborah Black has her own communications firm in Saskatoon. People anywhere in the world can find out about her products and services. Her firm has been on the internet since last fall. Because the technology is so new, it hasn't yet been a big moneymaker.
Well, so far the benefits are marginal at this stage, but it does place us in a very advantageous position in terms of the opportunity that presents for the future.
Every day, more private companies are getting their products on the internet.
There's a graphic here that will have our logo and the name of Cotto Books at the top.
This Regina book publishing firm is getting on the internet this week. Reg Sylvester sees the internet as a combination of a mail-order catalog and the home shopping network.
We have a special grouping of books that we've done that were written by women. We call it the Women's Work Collection, so we can click on Women's Work and see the list of books.
Cotto Books hopes being on the internet will mean new customers around the world, especially in the U.S.
If you'd really like to order it, then you can click on ordering information and you'll find our 1-800 number there. Or you can order by fax if you'd like, or by mail.
Sylvester has already discovered unexpected benefits of being on the internet.
I think that you'll find that the internet is a place where book publishers can sell international rights or American rights to other publishers in those countries. Places where publishers of multimedia projects will be able to find partners and that sort of thing. I think there's going to be a lot of business-to-business contacts as well that will be useful.
To set up an internet site, the firm spent about $3,000 for a new computer and $2,000 for a one-year hookup charge, for a total of $5,000.
I've been doing a bit of research. Some people are finding a lot of traffic on their internet site, and one publisher that I talked to said that they've sold somewhere between 0 and 1 books. So, you know, it's kind of risky. It's a little bit frightening.
Sylvester urges business people in Saskatchewan to become internet literate.
I think it's worth the effort to at least, for people in business, to at least know about the internet and to begin to understand the ways that they can use it. It's not just another advertising medium, it's a communication medium, and it helps you familiarize people with what your product is and how they can get it and how they can use it.
Matthew.
Hi.
Meeting with Innovation Place yesterday.
Good. Deborah Black says knowing the internet will be essential for business.
It is going to be the source of everything that we do. It is going to be how we order our pizza. It will be how we make our telephone calls. It will be how we do business generally.
She says the internet could benefit Saskatchewan more than other places.
It really doesn't matter where in the world you exist. So previously, for Saskatchewan, there was a real disadvantage in our physical placement in the world. Now that is no longer an issue.
Canada is one step closer to legalizing marijuana after the Senate gave its thumbs up yesterday. But there are still a number of unanswered questions about how the new law will work. Among them, what happens to people who've been punished for breaking the law in the past? More than 23,000 Canadians were charged with cannabis-related crimes in 2016 alone. Of that, more than three-quarters were for possession, something that will soon be allowed. So there's an argument for granting those people amnesty, because even one conviction can affect the rest of your life, whether you get that job or that bank loan, for example. Now, this is a problem California has already had to tackle since it legalized pot in January. So we had Kim Brunhuber look at part of its solution.
Case number and then the felony.
Picture a drug dealer. You're probably not imagining someone like Brianna Quintanilla, a 26-year-old mother of three, but her rap sheet is a novella of wrongdoing.
Easy money, easy pay, fun life, which then led me to prison.
She got out in January. Now she wants to make a new start, get a job.
Marijuana related or something else?
It was a lot.
Which is why she's here. In this tent, legal experts are holding a so-called expungement fair. California's new pot laws provide a pathway for people to overturn marijuana convictions. According to one estimate, almost 500,000 Californians might be eligible. Hundreds of those are here now, getting free advice on how to go about it. Look at the crowd. Most are Latinos and African Americans, not because they commit more marijuana offenses than white people, experts say, but because they're 3 times more likely to be arrested for them.
And what legislation like the marijuana regulation in California and others have done is have begun to scale back the history of the war on drugs and its devastating effect it's had in communities.
This has been something I've been meaning to do for a long time now.
40-year-old Donald Bailey. Good family, good education, great job, bad past.
I was just hypnotized by the street life.
But surely, he says, his years of selling weed shouldn't count against him now. Even California's drug-sniffing dogs are no longer being trained to sniff out the drug he was convicted of selling.
My marijuana convictions wouldn't even have been convictions had the laws been then what they are now. If you ask me, they should fall off immediately on their own.
That's what will happen soon in some cities like San Francisco. Over the next year, thousands of low-level marijuana convictions will automatically just disappear. But in most places across the state, you still have to petition the courts, which isn't easy if you don't have money for a lawyer.
How much is the fee?
Even though Bailey now works at a law firm, he's not keen for his bosses to find out about his past, so he's going it alone.
It would be able to sleep soundly at night knowing that my indiscretions and the past mistakes that I've made, I've paid for them and they're no longer there. There'll be no remnants of them.
This possession charge should be dropped.
It's looking good for Quintanilla. She'll find out in a few weeks. Getting out of jail is great, she says, but only ripping up these pages from her past will actually make her feel free.
Okay, thank you.
Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
Now, we asked the Minister of Public Safety, Ralph Goodale, if Canada would eventually follow in California's footsteps. He said the existing law remains in place for now, but in a statement added, pardons are the final step in the reintegration process. We want to ensure that the waiting period, fee, and purpose of the program are fair, proportionate, and productive. Once Bill C-45 is enacted, we will examine how to make things fairer for Canadians who have been previously convicted for minor possession offenses.
CBC News has learned the government is also looking at relaxing the rules around aerial drones. They're popular with everyone from hobbyists to first responders. But with so many restrictions on where and how drones can be used, it's a wonder they ever get off the ground. The CBC's Ashley Burke now on what could be coming.
All right, so clear.
Clear, eyes out.
These paramedics see a day when their drones could save lives.
We can't always have great access to a scene or to the patient. We can drop life-saving equipment, first aid kits, life jackets, sometimes something as simple as a rope to someone who's out on the ice.
Right now, Canadian law requires operators to be able to see the drone they're flying.
The current regulations for the average person who's flying a drone are really akin to flying a kite. You know, if you've got the string in one hand and the kite's on the other end, you can see it at all times.
A pilot project with Transport Canada is allowing paramedics in Renfrew, Ontario, to test flying drones up to 4 kilometers away. Next month, the RCMP and Ontario Provincial Police will also take part in the trials. They'll be putting their equipment to the test around buildings and objects in cities. The government wants to make sure it's safe to open up the skies.
You don't want this falling out of the sky and injuring anyone or causing further harm.
Some businesses say it's about time the rules changed.
It's exceptionally frustrating because my opportunities are all offshore. There is nothing I can do in Canada.
When this Ottawa company did take on a government project to track moose in northern Ontario, it had to hire a helicopter to keep an eye on its drone.
What I had to do to get authority to fly is I had to have a chase aircraft. In this case, I had a big yellow Chaperone, 7-seat helicopter, and they were using 220 times the fuel we were.
CBC News obtained a briefing note to the Minister of Transport through a Freedom of Information request. It suggests that the government will use the information it learns from the trials to come up with new regulations. That could eventually lead to drone users, including recreational ones, being able to fly farther. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Aerial drones could one day patrol the Canadian Arctic. The federal government plans to buy a system of unmanned aircraft to monitor northern safety, security, and the environment. Tests are being carried out now by a company based in Iqaluit. Transport Canada says drones may eventually help detect things like oil spills, survey ice and marine habitat, and monitor ocean activity.
Well, Caitlin Osmond's World Championship skate is next, and her family's reaction is tonight's moment. But first, remember, you can always go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day. You can subscribe to our newsletter, cbcnews.ca/The National. The National Today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon.
This is Alanis Morissette, the grade 12 student. And this is Alanis, the teenage pop surprise of 1991. She may be a brunette, but in the recording industry, Alanis is platinum. On the strength of 2 singles, Feel Your Love and Too Hot, her debut album has sold over 100,000 copies since last spring. Now Alanis is in demand. Last summer she played the Ottawa exhibition. Warming up for rap star Vanilla Ice, she had a lot of sizzle for a 17-year-old.
Take it off! Take it off! Take it off!
But as with most seemingly overnight sensations, success hasn't come suddenly at all. Alanis has been working towards this all of her young life.
I always wanted to do it since I was 3. I've always wanted to be a singer.
That doesn't make Alanis different from a lot of other girls with a dream. Something else does.
Yeah, she's one of the most ambitious people I've met.
That's Leslie Howe, the Ottawa musician who co-wrote Alanis' songs and produced her album.
You know, when you're 14 years old and guy or girl, whatever, I think usually your thoughts are on other things that other than trying to make a career. I guess she's known right from a young age. She wanted to be a singer, and she's done everything she can to make it happen.
Everything, including recording a demo and shooting a video in Paris when she was just 14.
We sort of didn't really hold back. Like we went over to Paris and we did the video, and we wanted to make it something that people would get on their desk and not just keep it there. They'd look at it and go, hey, you know. So we tried our best, and I think all kinds of things combined with, you know, good song, and I guess I was young and stuff.
Alanis has moved into almost unclaimed territory in the Canadian music scene, the market for a pretty, teenaged, homegrown pop singer. Industry watchers say she has the talent and the drive to go as far as she wants, or as far as real life will let her. After all, there is school. Alanis wants to graduate from Ottawa's Glebe Collegiate this year.
As Pyeongchang 2018 comes to a close, the Olympic journey continues.
And look at the time, 9:69.
One network is there.
Kylie Marsh for 21-year-old Canadian, a new world record.
Every step of the way to Tokyo 2020 and beyond. CBC, Canada's Olympic network.
Jocelyn came in here this morning looking like Adam Sandler on a red carpet. Poor thing is planning her own baby shower, so I volunteered to help.
I'm sorry, is that supposed to be a baby?
Why is your firm so interested in Norwood?
My daughter is sick.
It's tragic,
Get back.
but it's not your job to fix it.
Tonight on The National, police in Ontario have arrested one of 3 men accused in a vicious attack on a man with autism. 21-year-old Parmveer Singh Chahil was tracked down today at his mother's home in Windsor. His mother and brother were also arrested and charged with accessory after the fact. Police are still searching for 2 other suspects believed to be in the Greater Toronto area. Well, after days of criticism over the way Facebook handles its users' personal data, today the push to boycott the platform got a pretty big boost. Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX and Tesla, has deleted the Facebook pages for both companies. Some folks on Twitter egged him on to do it, and he just did. Altogether, his company's Facebook pages had more than 4 million likes. And if Apple has its way, the emoji family will eventually grow to include characters representing people with disabilities. The tech giant is proposing 13 new additions. Ultimately, it's up to the Unicode Consortium, a nonprofit organization that sets the standard for emojis, to decide whether they will, in fact, be added. Well, that is Canada's Caitlin Osmond skating to gold at the World Championships in Milan. The 22-year-old finished on top of the podium with a nearly perfect performance today. And this win is a first for Canada in 45 years. We caught up with Caitlin and her family in the moments just after her big win, and that is our moment of the day.
To be able to make the podium was my ultimate goal. I never thought being champion was possible.
Hi, Caitlin. We're so proud of you out here in Marystown tonight. Not only in Marystown, but all over Canada.
You did it again. You beat the odds. You showed us all. World champion, baby.
Way to go, Caitlin. Once again, you made Marystown proud. Marystown's girl.
So proud of you. Congratulations. We're so excited. We can't get over it. When you're here to do it, you're a world champion.
Caitlin, this is Nan, and I'm really proud of you, and I love you, and I'm so proud of not even funny, and I love you the most.
And Rosie, I got to say, I just love how her hometown of Marystown in Newfoundland and the people in it, they all have this exceedingly long history of being just so proud of her accomplishments. There's a Caitlin Osmond Arena. There's a Caitlin Osmond Drive. She has the key to the city. They love her.
That brought a little tear to my eye. All the family lined up on the couch with the bad lighting, congratulating her. And you mentioned this has been a long time since we won this, and that's true. The last time we won this particular title was in 1973, and it was Karen Magnuson. So this is a big deal for Canada and a big deal for that little town as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got to say, you know, I figure most Canadians probably haven't been to a figure skating championships before, but you don't really appreciate the athleticism involved unless you're there. You see, they go so fast, they go so hard, super impressive. So congrats to Miss Osmond. That's the National for this March 23rd. Have a great night.
Good night.